Hey guys, it's Nick. Thanks for tuning into Long Island Wargaming, and this is game one for Brawler Bash. I'm going to be playing Warriors of Chaos, and I'm actually going to be playing against Lauren Furbush, which is Daniel Furbush's wife. He's the guy that ranked pretty high up there. He had that crazy high elf list that you probably heard Anthony talk about. And he painted up a Warriors of Chaos army for her, which looks awesome. I'll post a separate video up about a bunch of different showcase photos that I took, including this army. But it's really, 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 really cool looking, and it was a pretty cool game. So let's get on into it. So for my spells, my level 1 engineers both got Warp Lightning. I do have two level 1 engineers. I had to make a quick little tweak to my list, so there was a little change. And for the Gracier, I have Blessed with Filth, Vermintide, Cloud of Corruption, and Plague. I'm kind of looking forward to Cloud of Corruption because once he gets close to me, hopefully I can do some damage with that shit. Lauren has two level 2 casters of Slanesh. I can't read the first card, but the other one is Choir, Pavane, Slicing Shards, Acquiescence. One of them must have a spell familiar because there is that third spell. And they're both riding solo on Steeds of Slanesh. Here's deployment. You guys know my list for the most part. We can go through the Warriors list. From right to left, we have Marauders with Flails, another unit of Marauder Horsemen with Flails, which I think is really fun. Really, really cool, all those Marauders. I usually don't see people bringing them, so it's a pretty fun list. There's the caster on Steeda Slanesh. And here's the scariest shit you'll ever see. It's a unit of 8 Skull Crushers with a Hero BSB in there. two two chariots with Marcus Lanesh. The Lord on Disc, so it's the Unkillable Lord kit. Two of the Chimeras. And to the far left, there are another unit of Marauder Horsemen. I think those guys have spears. So the Unkillable Lord on Disc of Tzeentch had Armor of Destiny, Crown of Command, Obsidian Trinket, Scaled Skin, Soul Feeder, Third Eye of Tzeentch, Halberd, Shield, and Mark of Tzeentch. The Exalted Hero on Juggernaut of Khorne has Helm of Many Eyes, which makes him ASF stupid and gives him extra armor. And then he also has Others Trickster Shard, Luckstone, Burning Body, and a Halberd. And then we've got the two Sorcerers on Steeds of Slanesh. The first one had Enchanted Shield, Tormented Sword, Ironcurse Icon, Chaos Familiar, and was level 2 of Slanesh. And then the last one has Charm Shield, Dispel Scroll, Warrior Bane, level 2, and Lord Slanesh and Marcus Slanesh. That monster unit of Crushers has the Rage Banner, so they never lose Frenzy. All Marauder Horsemen are Slanesh, as are these chariots, like I said. The Chimeras have Regeneration, but no Flaming Attack Breath Weapon, which I'm very grateful for. So the Bells stay as a bunker unit, and most of my shit goes here into the Stormvermin because I want them to fight and the Gracier to stay far away from combat. The Warlord on Bonebreaker's in there, and the BSB, and a bunch of other shit. So here's two Vanguard moves to the right. And then on the left side, we've got another Vanguard. So for my card, I used No Glory in Death, 500 victory points of my most expensive unit, model, non-character, above half its starting wounds at the end of the battle. So that's great because my Stormvermin have all my heroes in there. Hopefully I can keep that unit alive. And then I'll also get to go first, which is cool. My opponent brought Broken Arrow, 500 points for having all your Dispel dice generating characters alive at the end of the game. And then the special ability is I miscast on double ones, turn 1. So I get turn 1 first automatically, which is nice because I want my toys to run forward. Not sure that's the best strategy, but you know what? If I can get the Doom Wheel up there so it can zap some of his shit, and then he can charge it, and then I'll be able to redirect it for the rest of the game with the rat darts that are chilling there. That would be great. That's the plan. Not sure if it's going to work. But yeah, so this will also give me an opportunity to shoot with the lightning cannon and maybe kill some shit also. So first up in Magic, my engineer tries to bait out some dice and does some warp lightning onto the chariot and does a wound. And then over here, within 18 inches, I did move my bell up, so I am able to plague, and I go ahead and plague this unit of 10 Marauders. So I kill half of them, which is statistically average and correct, and then instead of passing on to the other unit of Marauders, I go ahead and do it onto the freaking Skull Crushers, because you know what? 5s and 6s will fail, and then no armor save. It's not bad. So I actually end up killing a Jugger and doing a wound to another one, so that works out well. The Doom Wheel is able to knock out 2 more, which is excellent. I'm really nervous about this unit, but now that I've got him down to 6 instead of having him at like 9, that's great. So I figured the lightning cannon could kill another 2, but nope, it misfires and blows up, so that sucks. Overall, pretty successful turn 1 for Skaven. So this is Warriors Chaos turn 1. So everything moves up. The Chimeras slide down to the middle of the field. They don't advance directly in, which I'm happy about. I don't want them anywhere near me. The Marauders to the right charge the Hell Pit, which is fine. And then the Skull Crushers go in and hit the Doom Wheel. So a grind attack or 2 will hopefully kill off that one Juggernaut with 2 wounds on the back. And then, they'll overrun, which is fine. Then I could just Rat Dart bait them and then maybe flank charge them with a Stormthrown. And here's a close-up shot of the Doom Wheel fighting the Juggernauts. These models are awesome. They look awesome. Look at all the bloody dead bodies all over the bases and the highlighting on the edges of the Juggernauts. Just some really, really, really cool stuff. So she casts Hysterical Frenzy onto the Lord on disc, so I'm okay with that. I'll let it through. Choir's the one I gotta watch out for, so this I do dispel with a scroll because she rolled so high I didn't want to take a chance because now that her lord has actually gotten into combat with the Hell Pit, I want to do as much damage to him as possible. I was intrigued by that charge, so we'll see how that goes. Because Choir would have done, on average, 7 hits and then the wounds on half and then does another half. So really I could have let this through and maybe taken a wound or 2 on the Hell Pit, but at that point I might as well just try to keep him alive as long as possible so he can kill that lord. The Hell Pit chases down some fleeing Marauder Horsemen after doing some heavy damage in combat. So he's now actually behind the lines of the Chaos, which I'm thrilled with, so I can go and kill that hero, which would be nice. Unfortunately, that will deny her points for the objective card, and honestly, I just need to rule the magic phase, so if I can get rid of some casters, that'd be cool. So the Doom Wheel is knocked out, and man, these things are getting close, so I gotta really chaff up now with the Rat Darts when it's my turn. Neither the Lord or Hell Pit Abomination take any wounds. I am stubborn, she charged me, so I'm down by 1, so I pass my Leadership 8, and I do have a reroll at this point, but it's fine. Leadership 8, stubborn, I'm good to go. So I go for a crazy charge here, and send my slaves into those fast cav, so it'll be fun. Oh, I totally forgot about these guys. Gutter Runners show up and they're going to start poison slinging that hero that's hiding behind that building. A little bit of a blurry shot, but here it is. My Rat Darts go ahead and get in the way. This way he'll have to charge the flank of that one, overrun and face that one. The goal is to expose the flank of the Skull Crushers to my Storm Vermin. I'm not sure it's going to end up happening at this point because it's going to be pretty wide by the time he hits the second Rat Dart. He'll still be probably my front arc. But nonetheless, all the way over here in the back, my Hell Pit Abomination charges the hero. So this should be pretty fun. I think he took 3 wounds, honestly, from those Marauder Horsemen. I know it was only 10 guys, but flails, they're wounding easily. I guess I took 3 wounds from them, so. So the bell too soon made a good roll of freaking 16, so all my guys within, 12 inches I think get plus up attack, but nobody's really in combat, so it doesn't matter. I roll doubles, so I lose a bunch of guys, and none of the buildings blow up, so Bell's useless. So I Warp Lightning again. I've got 2 Warp Block Engineers. The one with the Condenser seems to be doing pretty well, so I actually score 2 wounds onto this chariot, and I wasn't able to see the one to the right, I guess. So they both have some hanging wounds on them. The Warp Fire Thrower's got a pretty good shot here, but unfortunately he saves all the hits with armor. And then I go ahead and do the Doom Rocket. I've got nothing to lose at this point. I might as well try to deal some damage to these guys. And again, high armor saves, nothing I can do about it. Poison Slings are unable to get any wounds through this guy. And never underestimate the slaves. The slaves went in, they were actually able to kill 3 guys, which is great. I wanted to make that charge, this way I didn't have to deal with the spears, now that I recall, and I'm actually able to break these guys and they run through the Gutter Runners, and yeah, so slaves did something. I make easy work of that caster hero with the Hell Pit Abomination. I'm pretty sure I kill her on impact, so I reform here to face this direction, so I can deal with chimeras or whatever. And the Lord on disc actually does 2 wounds to the Hell Pit Abomination, but I'm still stubborn. I'm going to stay there and fight, even though he's got a crazy armor save and a crazy ward save. I'll see if I can do something. So we're on to Chaos turn 2. Beautiful picture of the chimeras here, but it's not a beautiful placement of them because they're up here in my face. The chimeras did not charge, they were simply flying 20 inches. The Skull Crushers do go ahead and charge those Giant rats, which is weird because now they're not going to be able to overrun, I don't think. This was something we had to figure out with a rules judge because I ended up having to close to him, I believe, when he kills the giant rats, but we'll get into that when it's time. To the left of the storm vermin, this guy decides to run up real close to me, and then I'll give you a nice little close-up shot of him. Pretty well painted. Choir gets off onto my Hell Pit Abomination and actually does 2 wounds to him. And you can actually notice I've done some wounds to these guys by the counters. I've actually got a wound on the Lord at this point. So in combat, the rats are crushed, so he overruns into the next one, and this is where my redirecting kind of screws up because he can't close to me because of the chimeras and shit. So I have to close to him, so it ends up looking like this. And yeah, so there's going to be no exposed flank for the Stormvermin to charge. So Skaven turn 3, things are going down. The chimeras are in our way. They're placed funky because they don't get on the hill, so just bear with me. But the slaves run in. The gutter runners are coming in also, so they can poison sling that frickin' hero off the field. The Stormvermin kind of turn to face the chimeras and the skull crushers because I'm not sure what's going to happen. The slaves also charge the skull crushers. Hopefully he can kill them and he'll chase them, which will be fun. I get Cloud of Corruption off, which is excellent. It's really, really, really what I needed with those chimeras and skull crushers in my face. However, I rolled double 6s, so yeah, shit. So those of you who don't know, Cloud Corruption is area of effect, 12 inches. It affects opponents on 2+. My guy's on a 4+, so it's D6 Strength 5 hits, no armor save. So I'm actually able to kill 2 Juggernauts, which is awesome. So there's down to 3 guys, slowly getting this unit killed. I kill 6 slaves, which sucks. I do 2 wounds to a chimera, not able to kill him, which sucks. He regens a bunch of the saves. I kill a bunch of giant rats, but one's there, and he decides to pass with leadership 7 on panic from my Grace Seer being there. Nothing happens to the storm vermin, and I think I lose a few clan rats, but with my magic rest 2, it's not a big deal. So yeah, I think that was pretty successful. The issue is I actually dimensional cascade. My Lord level 4 caster, and he disappears into the warp. So there goes a solid game for me, maybe winning and doing some fun stuff to probably losing now. But you know what? At least it's because of a miscast. I was getting a lot of shit from people because they were going to say, hey, you're probably going to get shot off the bell by cannons, which is true. But at least my guy is dying from miscasts. Warp Fire Thrower tries to do some damage to the Chimera and the Skull Crushers, but is unsuccessful. The Unkillable Lord finally kills the Hell Pit, so that's fun. And some rat swarms show up and get in the way of the chariots, so I appreciate that also. So Chaos turn 3. The Unkillable Lord and a chariot go into the Storm Vermin, so little surface area, it's going to be a pain in the ass. The other Storm Vermin goes ahead and charges the rat swarms, and the juggernauts combat reform last turn to face the slaves, so now they can grind through them even quicker, but at least they're staying away and I don't have to deal with them. And the 2 chimeras charge the bell and the unit, so yeah. At this point, Hysterical Frenzy gets off. I let it through. I don't care at this point. The slaves are going to get grinded through so quickly. I'll take the D6 Strength 4 hits that, Hysterical Frenzy will give now, so whatever. Choir gets off and actually kills a few of these guys. And over here, the slaves break as expected. Without that general, I'm not going to be getting leadership 10 steadfast, which I had enough ranks to still have +3 to my leadership, but when your leadership 5, because there was an engineer in there, plus the 3, leadership 8 without a reroll, I still failed it, so. At least over here, I'm leadership 10 with a reroll. I'm actually able to deal a wound onto the Lord. Holy shit. I actually take 2 wounds onto my Bonebreaker Lord that you can see in the middle of the unit there. But the fact that I've got this Lord down to 1 wound is great. So we're actually in a challenge, which is nice because he's not getting a whole lot of Soul Feeder wounds back. So it's going to be a slow grind here. And we'll see what happens. And these chimeras are freaking killing me. I've got both of them to 3 wounds, and I can't freaking kill them. Over here, the rat swarms get crushed, and this thing goes ahead and crashes into the slaves. I'm perfectly okay with that. So it has its 2 wounds on it, but I'm never going to kill it at this point. So Skaven turn 4. Now this is what I consider the first real error of the game on my behalf. The Gracier blowing up, can't do anything about that, but I send my Help Abomination against these guys because I want to finish them off, but I forget that the freaking hero has the Burning Bodies gift or whatever, so he's got flaming attacks, which I realize after I get into combat, and she brings it to my attention, and I'm like, shit. If I had sent him after the Chimeras, I would have killed the Chimeras, the Help It would have gone and done some other shit. I have the Warp Fire Thrower hiding there that could have sat and shot at the Skull Crushers, but not only that, but redirected them. So yeah, not good. Into combat here, you can actually see I kill one, so now I'm down to the BSB and 1 trooper left, and I have 5 wounds on me. He actually doesn't finish killing me, which is nice. In this shot here, it reminds me that Choir, she only rolled up a Snake Eyes versus the Gutter Runner, so she only actually killed 1, which is nice. But here in the combats, the Lord on the disc is still running with 2 wounds. I'm trying to really pick him off. The Bonebreaker, he's got a nice armor save, and he's got the 4-up ward save, so we're sitting there fighting in that challenge, and can't really do anything about the freaking Chariot, though. It has a 4-up armor save after the Halberd, so he's able to save the wounds that he needs. The Gutter Runners actually charged this turn, which I didn't say. The thing is they needed like a 6 to get to that hero, and I didn't get to him. I really thought they would do good in combat against him with the extra attacks and the poison and a charge and whatnot, but they failed, and when the slaves blow up from the chariot that charged them, I don't know why I couldn't roll freaking stubborn leadership 5. I could have really used it. But the slaves blow up and kill most of the Gunner Runners, which really sucks. So Chaos turn 4. The Chariot charges the Gutter Runners. Now in this game, it's all about the victory points you get. So I figured, hey, keeping my Gutter Runners alive doesn't do me anything. So fleeing is only going to kill me. If he charges, then he'll go into the Gutter Runners, maybe take a difficult terrain test and die. The other thing is if I run away, she redirects into my Stormvermin, and I really don't need that right now. Everything's in combat, so Warp Lightning Engineers can't do anything. The Hell Pit dies from flaming attacks over here, which makes me so angry because I really should have sent them after the Chimeras, like I said before. My mistake. But check out that banner, that hand-painted banner, the Rage banner with the skulls painted on there. It's just awesome. Really, really cool. So they return to face the Clan Rats. They both have some wounds on them, those Skull Crushers, the hero and the unit banner. So man, my Skaven, like I've said in a lot of games, they can do some damage, but sometimes they just suck at sealing the deal. So I've got a whole bunch of models with 1 wound left on the battlefield, including 2 Chimeras, a Hero BSB, an Unkillable Lord, and 2 Chariots. So maybe I can finish killing some stuff and get some points. Let's see. Oh, the Chariot has 3 wounds on it, and it runs away. I can't freaking kill it. I've got good static combat res in here. I've got my 3 ranks, I got my BSB, I got my banner, so I start with 5, and you know what? If the Chariot doesn't do that many wounds, and the Lord is soaking up wounds from her Lord with the ward save, I'm technically winning these combats. So finally the Chariot breaks, but I'm, stuck in combat, so I can't do anything about it. Just kidding. My turn 5, I Warp Lightning the thing from the Stormvermin unit, so yeah, that works out well. And then over here, to the left, the Chariot kills the the Gutter Runners, and he reforms. No difficult terrain tests were failed, so he's still alive. Warp Fire Thrower tries to kill these guys, but the armor saves are just killing me. I can't finish off these freaking juggernauts. Even if I kill the freaking trooper and get half the points for that giant unit, that would be awesome, but yeah, no. The Chimeras keep fighting the Bell unit. One's trying to kill the Bell, one's trying to just have combat red, so one's killing Clan Rats. They both have 3 wounds on them. I just can't freaking kill them. But something finally goes my way. I freaking kill the Unkillable Lord, which is so awesome. My Bonebreaker hero has 3 wounds on him, and he kills the freaking Unkillable Lord with the Rat Ogre and the Lord. It takes a couple turns, but the issue is we both have initiative 7, so he kills my Lord too. So you know what? I'll take the trade. My Lord's like 160 points. That Chaos Lord is worth. Hold on, let me grab the sheet. 403 points. So definitely a good trade. So over here, the Chimera finally kills the Bell, so the unit is no longer unbreakable, and I failed to kill two Chimeras that both have wounds on them. 3 wounds on them. I've said it a million times, I'm just pissed I wasn't able to kill him, so. But at least Malorian was standing behind my shoulder, and he was like, "Psst, Lauren, make him take panic tests for all this shit around." I was like, oh yeah. So the Warp Fire Thrower decides to fail its panic test and runs away. The Storm Vermin don't care about the Clan Rats breaking because they still have the BSB in there, which means they are leadership 9 with a reroll, so they're happy. So somehow we end up back in my turn 6. I don't rally my Warp Fire Thrower, so she gets the points for that. And now I've got, well, I Swift Reform and move backwards. You can figure that out. I decide I need to pick some targets and warp lightning them with my 2 engineers. So I decide to finally warp lightning the unit of Skull Crushers because there's more potential there with the BSB in there. And thank God my freaking 2 warp lightnings do the Skull Crushers in, so I get the hero, or I get half the hero, so I get 130 points for the hero, but I get all the freaking Skull Crusher points, which is 671. Holy shit. So, yes, pulled it right out there at the end. So my last hurrah worked. Here is Lauren's last hurrah. Here she goes. She flanks these guys. If she can kill this unit, she'll scoop up like 500 points. But I'll also lose 500 points because my objective is to keep this unit alive. Thankfully, my BSB is not in contact with the chariot. I am leadership 9 with the reroll, so I end up staying. The Skull Crushers don't make the charge across the battlefield, but man, what a crazy game. It was definitely a lot of fun. I left a lot of points on there. At least I was able to scoop up half points for both of the Chimeras. It really sucked that I wasn't able to kill both of them, but, you know, oh well. So here is how we finished. Lauren scooped up 2,253 points for me. She got 100 points for killing my general. She got a standard. She killed a character in a challenge, which is cool. She didn't get her bonus card, which sucks because I killed one of her 2 casters. And do you have a unit of fortitude in your opponent's deployment zone? This was 400 points. And what happened was, I think we moved the models before we calculated this, so we didn't measure whether the BSB was in or not. And at this point, I wasn't going for top tables, so I gave her the 400 points, not realizing that it was going to deny me 400 points because then I wouldn't have prevented my opponent from having a fortitude unit in my deployment zone. But I don't really care. I'm here to have fun and play some games, so whatever. I could have scored an extra 400 points if we went back and looked at the pictures on my camera or something, but honestly, I don't care. It works out well because I get matched up against Lord Inquisitor second round. So the points I got were the points I needed to play that crazy ogre army. So, oh well. So she gets those 400 points for having something in my deployment zone and 400 points from not having anything in hers. And then she killed more characters because I've got plenty of characters to kill. So she walks away with 3,500 points, which is great. I equal her in how many victory points I get from the game. We both score around 2,200. So I killed her general. I captured more banners because I guess she had standards in the Marauder units. I get the 500 objectives points, the 500 points from keeping my Storm Vermin alive, which is nice. And I don't get either of those 400 points. I didn't have anything in my opponent's deployment zone, obviously, because my Skaven list doesn't. I don't know how often I see my Skaven list in my opponent's deployment zone, but nonetheless, if I got the 400 points for not having anything in my deployment zone, I would have scored a little bit higher, but like I said, it's not a big deal to me. So it was a pretty awesome game. So she ends up with 3,500 and I end up with 2,900 for a Brawler's game. That's above how that's more than half of how many points you can get per game. You can get up to 5,000 points. So, I mean, not a bad start. I'm happy. It's still a loss, I guess. I don't know. The Brawlers thing is weird because you do things you wouldn't normally do, and I don't know. I'm not even going to get into it. You guys can say if I won or lost this game. I think it's a loss. I mean, I left 2 Chimeras on the table with 3 wounds, so I got half points, but I could have somehow killed them. That would have been great, but the Gracier cascading, can't do anything about that. The only big mistake that I think, unless you guys can point something else out, was the freaking hell pit going into that flaming bodies BSB guy. So if I had avoided that and went after the Chimeras, I probably would still have a Bell unit alive, and you know the Chimeras would be dead, and I would have gotten points for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Lauren was an awesome opponent. It was really cool. To play her and the army that Daniel had painted because it just looks awesome. So I'll get some pictures of that as soon as I can. And I'll see you guys in the next game, which, like I said, is going to be against Lord Inquisitor and his crazy ass samurai ogres. Thanks, guys.